So we're going to move some stuff out here, and we're going to bring in some chairs, and we're going to do a segment called Questions Answered, and then we're going to feed you lunch, and then we'll make more. And I wanted to try, we're going to take all your questions. I also wanted to talk about the cost of opening a store. And this is all on Jeff, because when I first met Jeff, I was doing stores that cost $150,000, $175,000, $200,000 for a store. Oh, you want to get in the ice cream business? Great. Just go down to the bank. Banks actually loaned money back then. Can you imagine? What a concept. They don't do it anymore. But we would get a loan for $170,000, put down $5,000, and we'd go build a store. Jeff comes along, and he's got 72 square feet of store, and he's making a killing. And when he sold it, I think it was about 3,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 72, which is about from here to there.
Well,
you know,
8 feet by 7 feet.
Yeah, it's real small. And ended up with 3,500 square feet because his concept was, I don't need 3,500 square feet right now. I can't afford 3,500 square feet. What do I need with all this equipment when I'm only selling a limited number of flavors and I'm selling out every day? So I have to admit, I have adopted that theory, and with my CB350 countertop, I have put thousands. I've got over 36,500 customers in 171 countries, and a lot of them came in the last 15 years. And we're putting them into very low-cost stores, the concept being, my personal concept is I'm going to spend as little of your money as humanly possible, and we're going to work the equipment to death. We're going to work the chest freezers. We're going to work the sink. We're going to work the batch freezer. And as the money comes rolling in, then we can look at our problems. My first problem is I'm running the CB350 18 hours a day. I haven't seen my wife in months. A vacation, you got to be kidding me. I'm just overworked, but the money is pouring in. So now I've got enough money that I can now double my capacity by putting in more storage freezer, and I can hire a trusted friend or a fireman or a cop or someone just out of the military. They all have, except maybe the trusted friend, a work ethic of my job is to make the boss 50 gallons of ice cream tonight. So 11 o'clock tonight, I say, see ya, I'm going to bed. And the person has my formulas, my store, and they're going to continue making my ice cream. So you can double your production. When business gets even bigger, you say, I can't take it anymore, I need a bigger machine. But you've got so much money in the bank that you didn't have a year ago that you can now put in a larger machine. But you don't start with the largest machine or even a mid-sized machine. You start small and work up. Jeff did it. He's a testimony to it. He started with a CB350 and then got a 24 quart. And one of these days, he's probably going to call up and get a 44 just because of the sheer volume, and he'll use it only for solid flavors, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry.
224s.
224s you'll go. That would be my personal preference. But Jeff's not finished expanding.
Except stores.
Store, yeah, okay. Not waistline. No, store. Let me go get Christi and some chairs, and we'll sit down, and I hope you have a lot of questions. This is the great opportunity. I'll be right back. Will you please take over? Not entertain them, answer questions.
Okay.
We've seen the car.
I do have one thing to comment on that he said. Try to get into the mindset that we don't have problems. This is an ice cream business. We're getting into it for profit, art, and fun. And, of course, simplicity. So there will be bumps in the road, but they're not going to be problems. There'll be hurdles. If you're running hurdles on a track, what do they call that race? Is this on?
Hurdles.
What?
They call it hurdles.
Right. So if you're running track like that, you don't look at the hurdle as a problem. You look at it as a challenge. I like to look at them as opportunities. Every time something comes along that's not good, it's an opportunity to make it better. Somebody once said, you can't appreciate success until you've dealt with failure. So all these things, they're not problems in my world. They're challenges. We made an ice cream Monday, and I dumped it Monday night. I came in after class, tasted it, and I dumped 6 gallons of product. Dumped it down the drain. It wasn't the best. And I know what I did wrong. In teaching sometimes, like these 2 girls here, they have a turn at the machine. And they're going to screw something up while my back is turned. Not that they did it, because they didn't. But so I come in at night of the first night of class, and I taste all the product that we made. And 99% of it is perfect, just like we want. But this batch wasn't. So I dumped it. And don't be afraid to do that, because there again, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. You dump it, and now your opportunity is what? Make it the best. So that's what we did.
That's you, Jeff.
Oh boy, is this a new chair?
Nothing but the best.
A new chair.
That's mine.
Oh, that's your.
Yeah, I run the world
Ooh,
from
I get
there.
to sit in the boss's chair.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I hope you don't fall asleep. Because that's what I do. I'll close the door.
Oh.
Thank you.
Now this should
Sorry,
be
girls.
a little spirited because we have opinions. You know, we have differing opinions on this stuff. My goal when I started my class was to get people into business very inexpensively, quickly and inexpensively. And it's different than the way most people do it. Why are you two sitting opposed to? Come on, let's have a little troika.
Because
here.
we need to get the board and
Oh,
he's got to
okay.
get the camera in.
Okay.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about when you started. You said you were in an 8x7.
In the back of a gym.
You want to hear that?
Yes.
Well, after I took Steve's class and I sat in the back with that gentleman sitting, Steve professed that we do what, Mike? No.
All right.
Oh, Steve professed that we get into wholesale. So I bought my machine, and I was driving around looking for a place just for wholesale. I didn't care where it was or what it looked like.
Just write it on.
And I was looking, it was a Sunday morning, and I was looking for those store it places, you know, those doors that you pull up when you store stuff in there. And I just needed one that had water and electric. Well, I found a few, not in great neighborhoods, but being Sunday, they were closed and nobody was there to help me. So on the way back, I took a 2-lane road back to my house, and in the middle of nowhere, I look over and I see a sign on the grass, and it said "Space for Lease." This is just happenstance. So I looked, and there's a gym there. It was 3 bays, a building with 3 bays in it, each about 1,800 square feet. And so I pulled in, I called the guy, and I said, "You have space here?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be right over." Nice guy, George. He came over, and the gym is up and running. You know, it's Sunday, there's treadmills going, there's music playing, there's the smell of sweat through the air, there's free weights, the whole deal, in all 3 of these things. So I said, "What kind of space you have?" And he brought me in through the gym, through people working out, through the music, to a back corner room. And there's a door. We opened the door, and it was 8 feet by 7 feet. You saw it last night.
Closet.
It was 8 feet by 7 feet, and it had a little sink in it, about a 9-inch sink, with one of these things on it, and that's it. So I said, "How much?" Because all I need is wholesale, remember, right? Just nice. So he said, $400 a month. I said, "I'll take it." So I made the deal, and now I put my machine in there, and I have a little sink. I bought a stainless steel table just like this at Sam's Club, and that was pretty much it. I went to Restaurant Depot and bought some tubs, the 1-gallon tubs, and remember, I didn't know anything. I mean, no offense, but I took this same thing, but I didn't know anything. So the next, we have time for this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So the next day I started making ice cream because I'm going to see what Steve calls chef at these restaurants to try to get him to take my, look how fascinated he is, to try to take my ice cream and sell it, because wholesale's the way to go according to what I learned. So I made coconut ice cream. Yeah, you had.
Amazing.
I made coconut ice cream, and you all had it, right? We made it the other day.
Very good.
So I made coconut ice cream because, I don't know, that's what I made. And then I loaded up tubs. I bought a portable freezer that plugs into your car cigarette lighter. And I loaded in some tubs, cups, spoons, and off I went. It was a Tuesday, and I went to a place called Little Joey's, Italian. And I walk in, 9:30 in the morning, and they're all busy doing stuff, getting ready for the lunch crowd. And I said, I've got some ice cream. Want to try it? So he said, sure. So I give him a scoop in a cup, and he tries it. And he said, this is fantastic. And I said, I know. He said, and I said, you want to sell it here? He goes, oh, yeah, we could sell the hell out of this stuff. So we made our deal, and I said, I'll be back with the ice cream. And I went to the next place up the road called Pasta Fair. And the lady who was the owner, sitting at the bar doing bookkeeping work or whatever. And I said, try this. And she tried it, and right away it was, Emilio, come here. And Emilio comes out, he tries it, and their eyebrows go way up in the air, and we made a deal. So I called my wife, and I said, Rose, we're going to be rich. This is easy. The end of the story, I went to 5 places that day, and every one of them said, oh yeah, we'll do it, we'll sell it. And I told Rose, look for a new house. I was thinking about cars already. And so I went back with each one had a gallon. I took a stainless container for the water with the scoop in it, and I brought a nice rag. And they all instructed me which freezer to put it in. And I put the rag in the cup with the water and a thing out, and I said, treat it nice. And I left in all 5 places. And then I'm sitting home looking at car catalogs, and Rose is looking at homes and real estate. And 3 days later, I said, I better go back and see if they need more. I got to keep them supplied now. I have a route. And I stopped at 5 places. I have no doubt I could have gone to 15 places, because he's right. The chefs are there, and it's time in the morning they can taste it. So I went back, Little Joey's, I forget which one. And I walk in, hi Jeff, hey, you're great. I go in the back, and I open the freezer, and there's my ice cream, a little left in there, but the lid isn't on. So I looked in the tub, and it's all icy, of course, right? The lid wasn't on. So I scraped it out, threw away that ice cream, brought another one in, and I looked at the cup with the scoop and the water in it, and it was like a swamp. I mean, I didn't want to go near it. I dumped the water, cleaned the scoop in the sink, took the rag, which was really disgusting, and I gave him a new rag. And I said, guys, take care of this stuff, put the top on and everything. And I left. And I went up to Pasta Fair. This is the route that I had made for myself. And I walked in, and exactly the same thing. The lid was askew, so air was getting into the ice cream, icy all over it. The rag was disgusting. The water was never changed, and the scoop was sitting in it. So I got a little upset. The third place I went to was Legends, and they sell wings. And now I had, all right, so I walk in the back. The ice cream is in a freezer with veal and sausage and produce. So the ice cream smelled like that. It's just a natural thing. The cover wasn't on tight. It smelled bad. So I thought for a minute, and I said, okay, this isn't going to work for me. And probably because I'm not sophisticated enough to create a wholesale operation. I'm just, what do I know? I know nothing. So I said to all 5 places, this is not going to work, and I pulled everything. And I go back to that little room in the gym in the corner, and I'm washing the buckets and cleaning everything, and then a knock on my door. And I opened it up, and the music from the gym is there, and there's treadmill sweat smell, and there's a guy standing there, and he says, you sell ice cream? I said, yeah. He said, what do you got? I said, coconut. He said, how much is it? I said, $2. He said, I'll take one. So I go in there and I had a Dixie cup from just a regular Dixie cup, and I put 2 scoops in there, put a spoon in it, and I gave it to him, and he handed me $2. And I put it in my pocket. And then I go back to cleaning and everything. 15 minutes later, I thought he wanted his money back. I opened the door, and there's a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, little kids. "You sell ice cream?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "What do you got?" I said, "Coconut." He said, "How much is it?" I said, "It's $3. He said, "We'll take 4. So I scooped the 4 of them, put a spoon in. He gave me a 10 and 2 ones, and I closed the door, and I looked at the 10 and 2 ones, and all of a sudden, wholesale and retail took separate ends of the world for me. And I realized, I called Rose, and I said, "Rose, you can buy that new house if you want, because retail is what we're going to do. Wholesale, I just wasn't sophisticated enough to set up a wholesale environment. It can be done because your product is stupid good and the profit is there." And so I have a little thing going, and about a week later, I told the owner of the gym, "I need one of these doors. I need some room in the front." And he said, "Well, okay, that'll cost you $200 a month more." I said, "Okay, no problem." So now I have the back room to make the product, and I have a counter out front. You saw the photograph. I had a photograph of me. And I have a counter. And I had 3 sizes, $2, $3, and $5. And people would come in. What do you think they bought? 2. They bought 2. So the next day, the 2 went in the trash, and I have 3 and 5. What do you think they bought? 3. So 4 days later, I threw the 3 away, and now I'm selling ice cream at $5 a cup, no nothing, and that's how it was for 10 years. $5 a cup, sales tax included, 1 size, that's it. And gradually I took more and more space from the gym until he realized I have more space than he does. So he moved out, and I took the whole thing, about 3,800 square feet. And I just visited it. I sold it 2 years ago, and I just visited last night. Mark and I were coming here, and we stopped there. I wanted to show them what it looked like. And they're opening their 3rd location now. So it's there. Profit, art, fun, and simplicity. That's why we're here. And all of them work. All of those things work. Okay, sorry.
That was great. We very good.
Don't applaud, because each one of you can do this. This is simple and not expensive. We're going to talk now about how much it costs to do this. I started on nothing, but let's go.
Okay. So I'm going to need your help here, so you tell me where it's wrong, because I just put this together at the last minute. So we go through the steps of making ice cream, is the way I approach the business. So the dairy delivers the fresh from the cow yesterday afternoon dairy blend in those boxes, and you've got to store it somewhere. Now, if you talk to any other company, they're going to say, "Oh, you need a mixed storage box." Well, a mixed storage box is a fancy name for a refrigerator, except a mixed storage box costs $2,000. And a refrigerator, and you can get them at Lowe's with just a refrigerator, no freezer section, special order, about $600. What did I put down here? 3 components to upgrade for Iraqs. Where is it?
I bought my first refrigerator. You'll need a refrigerator.
900.
I bought the
2
first
Home Depot
one
or Lowe's?
at a flea market,
Refrigerator?
and it was
Oh, right here,
$75. And last night, it's still there when I went.
Yeah. And the only thing there is people say, "Well, what size do I need?" Well, it's a good question. Jeff has pointed out, and I do the same thing, you can freeze mix. So normally, in the old days, I would have said, well, how big a mixed storage box do I need? Well, how often do they deliver? They deliver twice a week. Well, I need a smaller mixed storage box than I do if they deliver only once a week. Well, you can throw that idea out the window now, too. I don't care when they deliver, because I can freeze it in a $700 chest freezer. and keep it for, I buy for 2 of these classes in advance, so I'm keeping it for 4 months or longer. So $900 is probably the most you'll ever spend for a refrigerator. You'll also use a refrigerator if there's room for, if you open up a bag, something you've got to keep fresh for a few days, like thawed strawberries or whatever, they can go in the refrigerator. So the mix comes in, we're going to store it in a refrigerator that used to be known as a mixed storage box. From there, we need to sanitize the machine. We have to run water through it, and the sink is 3 compartments: wash, rinse, sanitize. That's the code, and that they want you to do. Even though we're going to sanitize in the inside the machine itself. So you need a 3-compartment sink. They can be pretty pricey because this one, if you look at it, was seamed together. They took stainless steel and they seamed it together and welded it, and they made a sink. That's fine for an ice cream parlor because we're not washing anything in there other than metal parts, which are going to get sanitized in the machine later anyway. But NSF is National Sanitation Foundation. If you were going to open up a restaurant, they want that sink to have curved sides everywhere. It's what we call deep drawn. Take a big sheet of stainless steel, a big press comes down and stamps the whole sink. That raises the price up. But restaurants go out of business all the time, unfortunately for them. So you start now, you've got some time, and you start looking around for a used 3-compartment sink. The health department says the dimensions, and I don't want to get in the weeds, but the dimensions have to be that you can, immerse the dasher into the sink. So instead of vertical or horizontal, we're going to go on a diagonal. It'll make the sink smaller. Don't worry about that for now. So we've got the sink. Where is that? 3-compartment sink, $1,000. I'm hoping you can get it. I'm hoping you can get it for a lot less. Used. You ought to be able to pick it up for $200.
I just bought a brand new one. Well, you don't want to go into this yet.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
You got your first one out of a salvage yard.
My
didn't
first
you?
one, no, I got it in a field in Tampa. It was used with, they had cattle feed in it, and it was in the field, and that's $75. But I just bought a brand new one, and they shipped it to me, $275. Brand new.
So put down. You don't have an eraser.
I can get it.
Let's compromise, and we'll put $500 for now.
No, put your prices.
All right, we'll leave it at $1,000 for now.
Put it down.
All right, boys.
So now $1,000.
Put it at $1,000.
So now we've
for the
gotten to where
3-base sink.
we've got the mix come in. We've got the sink. Now the batch freezer. I make 6 different sizes. I make 3 different countertops. The other 2. You could get by with the 200. It makes 3 quarts in 10 minutes. That's going to be really slow. You're going to be there all day, all night. And keep in mind, labor costs is going up dramatically. So you've got to get the most bang for your buck out of your labor. So let's just stay with the CB350, which is the largest selling machine in the world. $12,300 from us. And that's what's going to make your ice cream, your ices, dairy-free, gelato, frozen lemonade, frozen yogurt, frozen custard, anything you want to sell is going to be made on that CB350. So we've got that at $12,300. When it comes out of there, we're going to store the ice cream in chest freezers like this for now. They're $800 each at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Sears. I need 2 of them, I think, at least. So $1,600 for those 2 from Home Depot or Lowe's at $800 each. I am going to put my ice cream into a dipping cabinet. I'm not going to work from there, and you'll figure it out. You can.
Oh, I just see what I just did. Why didn't you guys say anything? I'm like, this doesn't look right.
I'm going to put down $2,800 for a dipping cabinet like you see on the back wall there. I call that the floppy lid cabinet because the lid flops over on itself where you can completely remove it. They cost less than visual display. I don't like visual display. The ice cream deteriorates too fast with the sunlight and all the air and everything else. They'll go on the back wall so that I walk up to you and I say, hi, can I take your order? I'd like a mint chip. Okay, fine. My back then turns on them and I'm scooping the ice cream. So if I happen to drop a scoop in the cabinet, nobody's going to know about it till later. I'm going to have very nice signs, but I don't have any up over there, the Emery Thompson sign. I made those and use it for trade shows, and I have little pieces of stainless steel, because I work in stainless steel, hanging off it with S-hooks, and it's a row of them. It says mint chip, chocolate scream, salted caramel. So if I'm out of flavor, I just take down that one. And I hate to sound like an old fart, but make it big enough so people can see it. If you don't have the flavors where they can read it and they're squinting like that, you're losing sales. So make it big enough that they can see it. Make it so that you can change up the flavors every day. And we had that dipping cabinet at $2,800. Stainless steel work table. They're currently about $500 to $700 each. I'm sure you can get it for cheaper, but we'll put one down at $700.
The table.
Wire rack storage like that, you can, and my figures are padded, but the end result is good. The wire rack storage like that is a must. It's a great way. They're easy to keep clean. They're NSF, so you use just wood. I mean, you can start off with wood cabinets, but eventually the health department's going to get on your case. So I put $800 for a wire rack. That's all I need in physical equipment to do the store. If you go into a dress shop, if you take over a dress shop, it's going to cost a hell of a lot more to set up the store than if it sold some kind of food prior to you. Because a food store is going to have a lot of electricity and it's going to have a lot of plumbing. So the dress shop is going to have a couple of 60-watt light bulbs. So take that into mind when you're picking a location. But I'm putting a whopping $5,000 in for electric and plumbing. Is that low? It's low. Yeah, but we're doing that small store. We're talking about 700 to 900 square feet. I want it as small as possible because that's my overhead. So I'm going to say $5,000 for electrical and wiring, because what do I got? I got the batch freezer. And that,
look at me. I'm just sitting here gritting my teeth.
I know, because you just spent a lot more than this. But
Hang on, we'll get to me.
But you didn't when you started.
We'll get to me.
You didn't when you started. My big one, then, this is where a business succeeds or fails. $5,000 cash in the bank. I want $5,000 cash in the bank because banks aren't loaning money. I can't. I mean, we've been in business 116 years. It would be difficult for me to go in and get a $50,000 loan from a bank, because banks just are not loaning money. Banks loan money to people who don't need it, and I don't know who they are, but they're not loaning money. Your supplies that come in, nobody's going to give you open account. They're just not. Maybe in 6 months or a year, they'll give you net 15 to pay for your mix or something like that. If you put any of this on your credit card, I guarantee you 100% you will fail. You will absolutely fail in business if you so much as pull out that credit card, because you'll never pay it off. Oh, it was too easy. I needed a $700 stainless steel work table. Here comes out the MasterCard. I needed the sink, and I can get a real good deal on it. I can get it for $500. Out comes the credit card. They're charging you 22% interest. It was so easy to pull that card out, and on the bill every month it says minimum bill $60. Oh, I can afford $60. Hey, that's easy. You just ran up $3,000, so it may be $60, but you're never going to pay it off. I shouldn't even say this on camera, but we insist that we be paid for our machine by check or wire transfer, no credit cards. One, because it costs us 3.5%, and you buy a $30,000 machine, 3.5%, it adds up in our business to well over $100,000 that we lose so that you can get points on airfare. I'd rather keep it in my prices. I'd rather keep my prices low. But those credit cards are a disaster for you. They'll run you out of business in less than a year. And I have told way too many people who say, can I put my machine on the card? I go, no, but how are you going to pay for the dipping cabinet? Oh, they take my card. What about the mix? Oh, they take my card. So all of a sudden they've got this huge bill on their card, and they're going to go bankrupt, and I'm not going to be part of it. I tell them, you know what, this is August. if you just wait until February, let's talk again in February, and by that time you save every dime you possibly can. You're going to be able to afford this, and you'll get open so that when the money comes in, it's yours, it's not MasterCard's. Now, tear it apart. Oh, so my total is $30,100. Anybody else you talk to, I don't care if you talk to Capojani, Electrofreeze, Stolting, Taylor, which are all American names for machines made in Italy, they're going to tell you $100,000. Oh no, you must have this $35,000 gelato display case. And who on earth would put in just one? You need two of them. No, you need to have coconut ice cream and sell one flavor. And when that one flavor does very well, then you say, hey, maybe I'll make mint chip. And then you go from there. You start with what you can afford and you work your way up. I started off by driving a Chevy Econoline van. Now I'm driving a Lincoln Navigator, a big car. It only took me 50 years. I didn't start out. Or another way of looking at it, which is probably more practical. I want to go into the moving business tomorrow. Do I start off with an Econoline van and start moving people's furniture bit by bit, or do I go out and buy an 18-wheeler for $500,000 and say, okay, here I am, come hire me. You start off with what you can afford and you work your way up. That will make you successful. He's living proof.
Yeah, but he drives a Bug.
But by choice. He could drive a Bentley if he wanted to.
There's good news and bad news here on this board. The bad news is there's one major expense that's been omitted. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you about it. First, last, and security.
Which I can't control.
Oh, sure you can. It depends on the rent you're going to
Well,
pay.
that's why it's
but
not my
let's take
figure. This is
$1,500 a
cost.
rent.
This is equipment cost.
Well, no, this is the cost to get into business. Let's take $1,500 a month. So now you're looking at $45,000 to $5,000. Write a check for it, and you'll never see it again. It's gone. It's open the window, throw it away. So you got to put that in there. If you're going to get into business, the last thing you need is, oh, everything's great, and then you go to sign the lease, and it's $5,000, and you didn't count on it. So just remember that that's part of all this. If we start at the top, the machine is fixed. I'm the only one in the world who I know gets a break on these. I'm sorry, I didn't.
But you got to start up ingredients and stuff as well.
What's that?
You got to make the first batch. So I don't know.
Oh, that's incidental. When we're going into business, making your ice cream, you need spatulas, you need buckets, but that's all incidental. We're talking about sitting at home in your living room and saying, hey, hon, let's open an ice cream store. Yeah. So, okay, the machine's going to cost us $12,000. Got to have it. Got to have the machine. Don't make a mistake and buy a piece of crap used thing off of eBay. It's just going to cost you money. So $12,000 for the machine. Now the two Home Depot or Lowe's chest freezers, he has $1,600 there. No way. I'm not spending that. I'm going to Sam's Club and buying chest freezers. Right now they're $169, and they're fine. I've got 3 of them now, and then I have one big one from Lowe's, and that was $500. That's about the size of this one here.
Okay, so these are from Lowe's, and they're $800 now.
Well, okay, I just bought one.
Yeah.
I've had it maybe 2 weeks, and they delivered it too. You know what? I bought it through a different company, and it was delivered by Lowe's. I looked at, never happened before. I looked up chest freezers, found the right size on Google, and I ordered it. And lo and behold, Lowe's calls me and says, we're delivering your freezer on Thursday.
What's the brand?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me just point it. The I don't know the brand means it's Chinese.
I don't care.
But
wait a
I
minute,
do,
wait a minute.
because it's not going to last.
Well, wait a minute. Last night we went to the store I opened 12 years ago, and there's the first one I ever bought because I spray painted it in tie-dye colors, and there it is, and they're using it. They're dipping ice cream from it.
12 years ago, it was better made. Today,
Okay,
it is.
okay.
Sichuan province makes the worst crap on earth. Anything Chinese will not hold up.
We can go on and on, but believe me, if you want to get into business, buy a cheap chest freezer for $169. They don't break. They last forever. We even took the one that I showed him, which is now 12 years old. We used to take that to do parties and socials on a trailer, bumpity, 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 bump, in the heat. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, would you buy the $3,000 batch freezer from the Chinese?
Batch free? No, of course not.
Why not?
Because you make the best.
Because no, but I can
But
get it for
it's all-
$3,500.
But yours is a much more complex piece of equipment than a simple chest freezer with a motor this big.
But that's what your company relies on, is making sure your product is frozen.
Okay,
Yeah.
difference of opinion. If you come to me and you say, put me in business, I'm going to Sam's Club and buying you 3 chest freezers for $169.
So I'm still under 30. I'm still at 35,000
What do you mean?
to open this store with the rent.
Well, okay, but let's keep going. Dipping serving cabinets, 2,800. I can do that for, let's see, 0, because I don't need them. To me, there's no difference in the world going to that and dipping your ice cream, or going to a $169 Sam's Club freezer and dipping your ice cream. It's the same thing. It's just as cold. It's just as convenient. I don't need it.
Okay, we've had this argument for 15 years, and it reminds me of the place. There's a commercial of this, and there's this old time guy who does haircuts, $8, and across the or $10 for a haircut, and across the street, this new glitzy Super Cuts opens up, and they do Super Cuts, $5. And so the old guy, instead of changing his price, puts up a sign that says, "We repair $5. We repair $5 haircuts." So you buy all this cheap crap, and when you get a hot summer, or you get low voltage, or all the other reasons that there's a difference between American and foreign, and those babies go out, and you have no ice cream, how much money are you going to lose in one day with all that melted?
Oh, well, let's see. What happens if the compressor on your walk-in freezer goes out?
If you bought a Copeland, it wouldn't.
You're done. You're
Was
done.
it a new one?
If one of my freezers
The point
goes out,
is you
what
have
do
a
I do?
higher-
I put it in the other one.
You know, what about the old expression, you get what you pay for? You just said you won't buy Chinese
My goal,
for the batch freezer.
my goal is to take all the people that come to me and get them in business. I do it 3 ways. I do it by lighting a fire under them and telling them how simple it is. And then I do it on cost, how easy it is to get into business. You know what my business plan is? Make ice cream, sell ice cream, go to the bank. And the way I can get that done on as little money as possible is what I want. Do I have granite countertops? No, I don't have granite countertops. I don't even have Formica countertops. Do I have a digital menu board in my store? No. My store exists for one reason and one reason only. Give people the best ice cream in the world. That's it. So how I get there, I don't care if you can see a cheap chest freezer in my kitchen. And my intent when I opened up was what Steve said. My intent, breaks, go buy another one, $169. They were $149 then. Breaks, go buy another one. But guess what happened? They never break. I had 13 freezers at Mystic, and they're still there. Last night we went there, they're all there. They're all there. Except for one place in the back room, and he had a big reach-in freezer, a little bigger than that. And I said, "What's it doing here?" He said, "It broke, went down." Enough said. So rather than go through all these things, I put people in business, and Steve and I, how long have we been together?
Probably 12 years.
Yeah, and I've been putting people in business, and some of them don't go the way I tell them to go, because they want fancy countertops. They want black and white tile floor. That's an ice cream parlor. That's what I want. A digital sign. We now have butter pecan. That's what I want. A POS system at the register. I want to know how many black raspberry chocolate chunks I sold today and what's left in them. I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that. And you've been to 2 of my stores now, and they're simple. They make the best ice cream in the world. I stand by that. You know that. And it makes money. I mean, we made a boatload in 10 years at that ice cream store, and then I sold it for a great price. So that's rather than go, sure, a 3-bay sink, I don't think but that's okay. You need a 3-bay sink. I found my first one for $75, and I just bought one for $280, I guess. But you know, as far as Chinese, I'm not a big fan of Chinese manufacturing. But the chest freezers for some reason, they don't break. They
Well,
just don't break.
I think, so let me ask you this then. Would you want to buy a Gremlin? It still gets you from point A to point B. It was cheap, but you have the possibility if this breaks, you got to fix this and fix that.
Gremlin,
but
one
it
of
was
the most
cheap.
successful limited-time automobiles in history. Yugo, same thing.
Work with me. Work with me.
Okay.
Okay? Or you want to step up and get a Ford Focus. It's a little bit more money, but you know it's guaranteed forever or a
Okay,
very,
let's
very
take
long
that
time to
one
get you
step
from
further.
point A to point
You
B.
just got your first job. You're making $75 a week. Do you want to spend the extra for a Ford F-150, or are you going to get by on a Yugo because you got to make some money before you trade up into a better car?
I'm going to buy the F-150 because if I don't show up for
But you
work,
can't afford it.
The key to business around here is just show up. That is the key to working for someone else is just show up.
If
And if you
you've
can't
got-
show up, but I think we're really getting off the subject because I was doing years ago $150,000 stores, POS this and tile floor that and all that,
Right.
and I'm down to $35,000, and I'm not going cheap. I'm not worrying about. I'm not a wing and a prayer that it's going to get through July 4th weekend, which your system will be. But we're talking only a few $1,000s between us, so we're singing to the same choir. The point is that you can get into business for a lot less than it used to be by letting the equipment do the work and let the business grow. I love the term, the millennial term, let it grow organically. It's a perfect term because in one word they're describing you
What does
start
that
with
mean?
it means you start with nothing and you work your way up to be CEO. That's what you do. I started bending copper tubing when I was 16 in the Bronx. And you put dozens and dozens of people into business. We put thousands of people into business. And quite frankly, I'm the one who's correcting some of the things that you say when people call up 2 years later and say, I tried Jeff's way with the chest freezers, and with a 900 square foot store, they take up way too much room. I haven't got any space for them. And it's just not practical for me with the lines out the door to be using chest
There's
freezers.
the key right there. They started cheap and they got lines out the door. Now you can upgrade. You've got the money.
And they're going to it. That's what I've said all along. But they're going
Talking
to.
about startup.
But I'm talking about it. I'm talking about using a dipping cabinet, and certainly a reliable chest freezer because that Chinese stuff. One couple called me up. They had bought a Chinese machine, and they said, "But it came with a second compressor." And I said, that's like buying a Ford truck and they throw in an extra V8 because they know the thing isn't going to last you 3 months. They couldn't get an instruction book for it. We found it over in China and my IT department translated it for them. They could not get parts. There's no such thing as service. You get what you pay for in business. Now, if you want to pay more money, go buy a Cappigiani. They are on average $6,000 to $8,000 more than us.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're 24 quart machine. Mine's 28.9.
How do they
Theirs is
justify
30.
that?
There's because they're Chinese. Because they're
Italian.
Italian. They're $36,000.
Their scraper blades are $3,000 to replace.
Yeah, and ours are a couple hundred.
I know that for a fact.
So I think we've beat this horse to death, but the point is you don't need, when someone tells you, another company or another person doing a class like this tells you that you've got to have the POS system, which tells you how many mint chip cones you sold and how many waffles you sold. All you have to do is look over there on the shelf. Hey, I'm out of waffles. I guess I sold 100. It's not that hard. You don't need the dairy tile walls and dairy tile floors. The health department comes in and says, we want dairy tile. Well, that stuff's like $1 million an inch. It's a concrete floor. Hey, inspector, how about if I paint it with a 2-stage epoxy from Rust-Oleum for $87? Yeah, that'll seal it. That's okay. But you just said I need to spend $10,000 on the floor. Well, if you want to do it your way, it's not going to look as good as mine. We're really doing this, getting you into business for as little money as possible.
Correct. That's the key.
That is the key, and we both
Getting you
agree.
in business, making the world's best ice cream for as little out of pocket as possible.
Nobody cares what the display cabinet looks like, whatever way you do it. They care about how the ice cream tastes. Nobody ever walked out and said, I can't wait to come back tomorrow. I love their display cabinet. That's not why they walked in there. We're going to have lunch in a couple of minutes. How about some questions from the audience? This is your big chance. Because you can't come up here
Well,
afterwards and ask questions.
let's go a little deeper. What do you think about this discussion? You, sir. I like, when you do this, I know you're thinking. So what do you think about this?
I like the idea of bootstrapping a business.
What does that mean?
Starting with, very little
Okay.
and moving into something bigger, basically pulling it up by its bootstraps is what it means. We're in business because we kind of took that same approach. So saving money but not having to spend money twice is valuable to us. I mean, we don't look at spending a whole lot of money, but we look at spending money and having been on the receiving end of poor manufacturing and having to buy multiple machines and so forth and so on. It's important to us that we kind of find that middle ground and get reasonable quality without having to spend every penny that we have to get into business. And for part of us, it's ambient air temperature. So for instance, some of the equipment we bought at a lower quality, and because the ambient air temperature around we're in the business we're in, made it work harder. So I like hearing the contrast of how we can get in with the least amount, and then the compromise of how we can get in with similar
When you
cost
say
and better product.
you don't want to spend the money twice, part of really business is upgrading
Absolutely.
and getting in on the ground floor, and then when you can afford it, upgrade.
Yes.
Well, just like me, I started with a 6-quart machine, a CB350, because that's what I could afford then, and I wanted to get in business inexpensively. And then 9 months later, I bought a 24 with cash, because you've got it, you're making it. So it's a redundancy to buy that same batch freezer twice, but you're upgrading, and you're upgrading with everything.
My concern is not the upgrade, because that makes business sense, because you're doing it with money that's been made. We've been on the receiving end of things that don't last, and you have to replace them before you're able to. And sometimes those things spiral out of control, and next thing you know,
You're hurting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
But the people who've come to me in the last 10 years are begging to get into business. For so many reasons, they don't want to answer to the guy anymore. They don't want to be 9 to 5 anymore. Their kids are growing up, they want to be able to leave them something. All these things, their family wants to cohesively get into a business that they can all operate. All these reasons, and my heart goes out to them, and I want to put them in business. So I'll get them in business. I used to be able to do this at 20 grand. I'm sorry, 15 grand. Put people in business. Open it, here's the keys, 15 grand later. Now it's probably 22 or something like that. To open the doors. That's what I want you to do. Open the doors and know that with the proper instructions, you're making the world's best ice cream, world's best Italian ices, world's best cream ice. Because if you can open your doors and that goal is accomplished, you're going to succeed. Because word is going to spread word and people are going to tell people. And then, yes, then you can expand. I had a little place, but I kept expanding because there was room for it. And you can buy nicer things after that for the business. I teach, Mark asked me yesterday, after your first month, you realize you've got some money in your pocket in the bank account. What do you do with it? Don't save it. Put it into the business. Keep this train going. And then in 6 months, then you take out 25 grand from the bank, you sell your CB350, and you're in business in a larger scale. You expand, the nail salon goes out of business, boom, I want that store too. But get into business as fast as you can and as inexpensively as you can and make money as quick as you can.
I absolutely respect the hustle and the idea of expanding and making something happen. So, that's...
Okay.
I got to tell you a quick story that'll make your jaw drop. What do they call it when someone harasses you on Facebook?
Keyboard warrior?
Okay. Or
Trolling.
trolling, yes.
What is it called?
Trolling.
Trolling.
This one guy starts writing and says, Steve Thompson is a shyster because he's putting all these people into business with a CB350 when he knows damn well you need a 24.
You gotta be
He's
kidding.
doing it so that you'll have the machine for a year, and then now you have to go buy a bigger one from him, and he's a horrible
Thank
human
God.
being. And I mean, I laughed my head off until I realized people started writing back and saying, "Oh, that's Steve Thompson's really evil." And thank goodness Christi is an expert at social media. I mean, I can't even find it on my phone.
Computers and him don't work well.
Are you kidding me?
And I'm serious about
Yeah.
this. And Christi bailed me out and said, he's doing it because it's all you can afford. You know,
And do
I'd
they
like to have
know
a
how little
Bentley.
you're going to lose when they sell that, put it on eBay in
Well-
15 minutes, it's gone, and you lost $1,000 over a year.
I know.
Well, his concept or their concept was to just drop $100,000 right up front. And if you're going to do it, you've got to go big right off the bat. And that's the beauty of having a CB350 is because it's such a small amount, you can do it right from your home. And it's affordable, and it gets your foot in the door to start a business versus dropping, $30,000 on this. Not everybody has $30,000. Majority would have $12,000 to go ahead and start.
Yes, sir.
Is this price for only internal, or that's going to be also international price you rent?
For domestic or international,
Yeah.
this is most likely for domestic. International, we're not familiar what other countries charge for prices as far as their goods and products.
Where international?
Africa?
Where?
Africa?
Africa?
Yeah.
Well,
I have
shipping
no
alone, everything's going to be more. So you've got to count on
Yeah.
probably at least 10% more.
And
Why don't you
then,
come here and open up a business?
Okay, another question. Can we know the old price you have? Is it like only one, or you have a 3-1 or whatever for?
I don't think I understood.
machine? How many machines do you have?
We have 6.
Huh?
We have 6 machines.
6 machines and 42 variations of them.
Are you?
CP35 is it like a little one, or this is the middle
No,
one?
This is
no,
the
it's a large one.
It's the one right here.
This one. The one that we made the pink ice on.
How about that one, the last?
This is a 12 quart.
How much is that one?
26.
26, yeah.
26.9. And the next one up, the 24, like Jeff has, is 28.9. So for $2,000, you're doubling your production, or you're cutting your labor cost in half. Our biggest problem is going to be labor going forward. This is all, in my personal political opinion, is a scam about what's going on to raise labor. In fact, the government said, you got a problem getting labor, pay more. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to drive the price up, and small business cannot pay $30 an hour for labor. We're going to find a way to automate it, or the boss is just going to work day and night if he wants to stay in business.
Yeah.
But your labor is your biggest thing to worry about in the future. The cost of dairy products is hardly going to change. The cost of a Mars candy bar isn't going to change much, but your labor is going to kill you if you're not efficient. But when the beginning of the business, again, we're back to getting into business so you can have these problems. Nice problem to have, but it'll come later. For now, you want to get into business with something you can afford so that it makes you money. At $100,000, like that guy was talking about, or $160,000, and the wonderfully stupid expression, go big or go home. A lot of people are going to go home. They'll
They
never
got
go into
down
business.
on you for selling the CB350.
That
Yeah,
is
but
correct.
because I was purposely secretly
yeah.
doing it to push them into a 24.
So that was a selling
Are
scheme.
people that
You guys get
stupid?
into talking about what like maybe a daily startup routine looks like generally what time you open a store, what time you make products,
Jeff
kind of stuff.
is the
it's
expert.
just general.
He's the expert.
Like,
You gotta take the class.
how many labor hours?
No, for real, yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
But the people
In
on
Daytona.
What do you want? We want to know what hours you're
Watch it.
open?
General daily
Well, let me
routine
say
looks
this.
like just
My
how
first store that I ran for 10 years, where I did very, very well, we were open from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Right.
4 hours a night, 6 nights a week. That's it.
He wasn't kid friendly though.
So that's when the store's open, and then you got to make product around that.
What's your new store look like? What are the hours there?
1 to 10.
Okay.
Are you kidding
There
me?
just isn't anything going on before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people will open at 11 because that's when the dress shops open,
Yeah,
and the other stores.
and the truth is
nobody's
be-
around. Nobody's eating ice cream at 11 in the morning.
The truth is, between 1 o'clock and I'm
It's
just
not our
talking to
business.
myself
we just
over
ate
here. to this
alcohol
point.
we
first
do
thing
ice
right
cream.
off the
Not,
bat.
we don't want to sell anything else. it gets confusing.
That one ice cream. Early ice cream.
I could have had a little more in there though.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, I heard you say that there's like a 3-month time frame for a specific machine and so forth and so on.
10 weeks for the CB350, 12 weeks for the bigger ones.
Okay, so, for reasons that I'm not gonna get into right now, how much and how long, I mean, not how much, but how long is there for the smallest machine?
It's still 10
It's still 10 weeks. Yeah, everything countertop is 10 weeks. We have over 140 orders to build. 2 years ago at this time of year, we would have 40 to build, and we were the largest in the industry. Now we have over 140 orders, and we're super mega the largest in the industry.
It's all of you guys. You guys are doing it to us by keeping us busy nonstop. We're in overtime day and night at the factories, just trying to keep up. Yeah.
Whoever made ice cream is
Yeah.
single one.
Yes,
Well, we're
sir.
happy.
All right, so I heard you say that you kind of catered to the adults with the 6 to 10. So that means it was more in Mystic, the adult flavor ice cream and stuff.
No, just that's I'm not a big fan of kids. Mike, can you cut that? And I didn't want an ice cream store with kids running around.
Weren't you a
That's not what I
teacher?
wanted. What?
Weren't you a teacher? A professor?
At one point, yes, I was a teacher, but high school.
He knows his audience because he's right in the largest retirement community in the state of Florida. And I'll just tell you a little bit about Jeff's business because it's so
boy.
wonderful. When you get to be older, which I haven't gotten to yet, you're sitting around and you're having dinner at 4 o'clock at night, and your wife shakes her finger at you and says, "You're only allowed to have 2 glasses of wine tonight. Last night you had 3 and you were sloppy drunk. So only 2. All right, fine. They have dinner. Around 7 o'clock at night, he goes, "Hey, hon, let's go over to Jeff's and get some ice cream. I know the Thompsons are going to be there and the Browns are going to be there. Let's go get some ice cream." And they go, "Yeah, great, okay," because they know that some of the flavors have liquor in them. And so now they can go get, he was limited to 2 glasses of wine. Now he can go get an aperitif after their early dinner of having some Bailey's Irish cream in a flavor. Not a lot, but just enough to make it fun. So it's an excuse to get out of the house. It was wonderful. So he had this.
Check the IDs.
Sure.
Okay.
So how does
Everybody's over 100.
Hold on, one second.
and
Yes.
that was my question, like how does that part work when you're serving it? It's like, is it a certain license that you get, that how does the inspector?
You have to check. No, you're okay because it's an ingredient in your product, in your food. But you can't pour. You can't have ice cream with a shot of bourbon on it. You can't do that. And we also card people. You check their license, make sure they're over 21.
Yeah,
The signs say
nice.
right there, over 21 for those flavors.
Good, quick point to bring up, and then if you're ready, we'll eat lunch. I'm not totally against doing this, but I'm against it. CBD and liquor in ice cream for a lot of stores. Not all of them, but here's my rationale, and that is, and it doesn't apply to Jeff's business. Jeff's is perfect success. I mean, it doesn't get any better. But for the most part, you're going to be a family business, and you're going to have families coming in, eating ice cream and all. It's a lot of fun to ask people in an audience, where did you go for ice cream when you grew up? Like I said before. But you are family oriented. Jeff's business was not designed for that. He was designed for where he was located, the age of the clientele, and the hours that suited that place. So he's unique to that point. But if you're in a town like Brooksville, Florida, Rye, New York, Grosse Pointe, Michigan, where you're going to have whole families coming in for ice cream, the mothers in the back of their mind are not going to be terribly happy that their 16-year-old who is 6'4" and playing basketball could try to sneak in, and they do. Hi, I'd like to have that rum raisin ice cream, please. Oh yeah, kid, let me see your card. Oh, I left it out in the car. I'll go get it. And then he disappears. But the parents don't think that CBD or any kind of drugs, whether you want to call it a drug or not, I'm not arguing that, or alcohol should be in a family product. So What determines that? It determines your location. If you're going to be doing mostly adults, hell yeah. If I was down in St. Martin and I had access to the pier and could be selling ice cream as the lovely tourists come off the wharf, you damn well know I'm going to be pouring a lot of rum into that lemon ice that I just made, because there's good money in it. So you can't say it's bad, but you got to say, how does it suit to my neighborhood, my setup? There are no hard, fast rules. Should we have lunch?
Okay.
Let's eat. Jeff's doing, what are you doing over there, games?
I get 60 or so emails a day, questions about the business and everything. But I was looking for one. I had an email last week. I saved it, but I can't get it right now. The guy who took my class in January opened up a store in where's Battle Creek, Michigan. He opened in Battle Creek, Michigan, and he emailed me that his first full month, which was June. His first full month, he took in $56,000
Wow.
in his first full
Good for
month.
him. Good for him.
So that was a great email.
And we hear that a lot.
Sure.
Is that what the startup was?
No, it's in Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm sure he didn't go, hell's bells. And he took my class, so he knows that he didn't have to, all the granite and the floors and all. You don't have to do that.
He does a lot of breakfast cereals because that's where Kellogg's is headquartered.
Yeah. His place, I saw, he sent pictures, and it's really in the middle of nowhere. It's at a crossroads outside of town.
Last thing, and I promised to shut up. 10 years ago, our business was controlled by Ray Kroc's famous expression. He opened McDonald's. The key to business is location, location, location. It's not true anymore because it's her fault. And her age group, it's her fault.
Thanks.
It's her fault because now people are doing what Jeff's doing. They get on their phone, the millennials get on their phone, and she's not a millennial, she just ages one like one. And they say, hey, I just found this place in Fruit Loops, Florida that sells rum raisin ice cream with real rum in it. Text me the address. So she texts it to 10 of her friends. They text it to 10 of their friends. Before the afternoon is over, there's 200 people within a 50-mile radius of Fruit Loops that knows that this particular Mystic ice cream has this particular product that they want. Paula and I do it now. As Christi said, I am no whiz on a computer and even worse on a cell phone. But we go to restaurants because someone said, oh, you have to go down this alley, turn left, and knock on the door and ask for Louis. And they have 35 seats, but they change the menu every 2 nights. This is where we're going. And instead of the fancy restaurant that puts ads in the paper, we don't go to those because the food's better at the little individual stores.
Please let me read one.
To go right ahead.
Okay. This came in July 4th. July 4th, I get this email. Jeff, would not think it right without giving you a shout out today. Thanks for your help in creating my independence. Just a quick update. Since opening our shop in May and sticking to your ideas, including my business card with a free giveaway that I pass out like water, my sales to date are just past $136,000. Not sure what I'll keep at this point, but as you say, I'll do okay. Thanks again, always grateful.
Wow.
So those, I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, we all do. Let's eat. It's right
Okay.
over there. There's water here. We have ice for sodas. Help yourselves.
Any ice cream?
Why would we want ice cream?
Any ice cream?
There's Diet Coke, Jeff. You better grab it.